You want me to put that on my Tudor?
Harry's wife. Harry is cheating? Hello, I'm HG Tudor. As you know, I utilise the prominent example that is his wife, her captive, the intimate partner primary source, Harry, and other people in her fuel matrix, her estranged father, half-siblings, her in-laws, to enable you to understand more about the dynamic of narcissism. In doing so, I analyse videos. I take information which has appeared in the news. And as always, I leave it up to you to make a determination as to whether you believe the news information or not. I simply use it as a tool to help you understand more about the way that she behaves and interacts with other people. There's a lot of information about Harry's wife, many column inches, many blog articles, videos, and of course, the veracity of this material varies from information which is entirely correct to some which is 50-50 and others where it's entirely speculative. Nevertheless, no matter what the veracity of the information is, it still provides a useful learning opportunity when it comes to narcissism. And the latest piece of information that has been put out there is to suggest that Harry might be up to no good. Appearing on a site called crazydaysandnights.net, sounds bonkers, doesn't it? An article from yesterday, described as blind item number 13, reads as follows. According to a friend of the ex, this married, foreign-born A+/A-list celebrity who is back in his home country, used a friend's phone to text the ex, and they chatted for about an hour. They didn't make plans to meet, but it is interesting the lengths gone to have a private chat with no trace on the celebrity's own phone. Now, of course, this could be completely made up and it never happened. Furthermore, it could have happened and it might be nothing to do whatsoever with Harry. But for the sake of providing you with more knowledge about narcissism, let us assume this is correct. And Harry, as is many people are suspecting, utilised a friend's phone to text an ex, Chelsea Davy, and they engaged in some bants, some back and forth that occurred. First of all, if this did happen, why might Harry engage in contacting an ex? Would he not feel bad about doing so? Would it not be the case that he ought to remain faithful to his wife? Now, there'd be some people who would say, well, if he was just getting in touch with someone who had spent quite a lot of time with him and was part of his life in the past, where's the problem? If it was just friendly, that's not being unfaithful. There'd be other people who would say, you just don't get back in touch with your exes when you're with somebody else. It's not the done thing. Of course, there might be instances where there could be a legitimate business reason to get in touch with an ex. But there'd be varying opinions as to whether this is something that should be done or not. But why would Harry do this? Well, he first of all might not see that there's anything wrong with it. I'm married to Harry's wife. Chelsea is an ex. It's in the past. It's not like I'm going to meet up with her and bang her brains out. So just keeping in touch with her and saying hello, not a big problem. Alternatively, it might be, because she knows him well, that he was, unwisely, contacting her because she felt familiar. Perhaps he was even seeking some kind of sympathy and support from her. That would indeed be understandable, given the fact that he's in the sustained devaluation, and therefore his emotional empathy for his wife would be eroded as a consequence of the abuse that he's receiving, meaning that not only does he feel like he needs support from somewhere, but also that he wouldn't necessarily see that there's anything wrong in him contacting an ex. Quite simply, In other circumstances, he wouldn't do so, but given the way that his wife is treating him, that he feels that it's appropriate that he can do so, because he needs to talk to somebody who knows him, somebody who understands him. Whether you believe this is cheating or not, well, people have differing opinions as to where that line is drawn. Some would say, no, he's just getting in touch with her, that's fair enough. Others would say, no, he shouldn't be doing this, you shouldn't be contacting an ex when you're with somebody else. But Harry's motivation, if this is true, is likely to be based upon the need to want to talk to somebody that's familiar, and also his conduct would be legitimised in his mind as a consequence of the way that he's being treated, i.e. his emotional empathy is eroded by the fact that he's being abused, that he's in a sustained devaluation, which causes him to deem that it's appropriate to contact an ex. Note, of course, that, again, if this is accurate, he's done it on somebody else's phone to avoid it being traced. That, of course, suggests that he knows full well of the lengths that his wife will go to keep tabs on him. It also suggests that if this is accurate, that she regularly goes through his telephone to see who he's been messaging, who he's been calling, what sites he's been looking at. Has he been looking at spankmygingerpancakes.com and such like? The narcissist, of course, sees nothing wrong with looking at your phone, having no concept of boundary recognition, driven by the necessity of controlling you. Being allowed to enter your phone and indeed demanding access to your phone is common with certain narcissists. The paranoia that eats away at the narcissist compels them to want to access your communications, to find out who you're talking to. And of course, often an innocent conversation with somebody will be construed by the narcissist as you getting hot and heavy with them. Why? Because if you're having a conversation with somebody else, you're not having a conversation with the narcissist, which means that will wound the narcissist, you're not providing fuel to the narcissist, and therefore the narcissism steps in and tells the narcissist this person is cheating through this conversation to compel the narcissist through the ignition of fury to be motivated to have a go at you so that you're brought under control and you provide fuel. Even though there is no evidence that you're getting hot and heavy with this person, even though there is evidence that shows that it is entirely innocent, the narcissist will read into it something sinister because the narcissism compels that to happen in order to drive the narcissist to pursue the prime aims by getting you under control. This is why you're regularly accused of being flirtatious when you haven't, because the narcissism revises history to cause the narcissist to believe that you have been flirtatious for the purposes of motivating the narcissist through jealousy and the ignition of fury to assert control over you by making this false accusation and provoking you so that you protest your innocence, thus demonstrating you are now under control and providing fuel to boot. Accordingly, Harry's wife clearly accesses his phone, hence, if this is true, his use of somebody else's phone. And that is typical behaviour for a narcissist, not respecting any boundaries, operating with a sense of entitlement, not showing accountability for her behaviours. What if she learned that he had been in contact with Chelsea Davy? What if Harry's wife found out that he had been engaging in a conversation, irrespective of the innocence of it? Naturally, this would wound her. The fact that the intimate partner primary source is contacting an ex is an act of treachery, and her narcissism will not stand for it. It is a threat to control and starving her of fuel. Her fury will ignite, and dependent upon the point at which she learns this, she will devalue Harry. If she finds that out when they are together, you can expect that behind the scenes she will go nuts on him. Likely, there'll be the ignition of heated fury, resulting in false accusations, shouting at him, insulting him, belittling him, invalidating him, possibly even pushing and shoving and giving him a slap. All done to punish and berate him for this ultimate treachery of being unfaithful. It matters not that Harry would protest his innocence by saying it was just a conversation. Look, you can see the text. It was just friendly. I wasn't asking to see her bangers or anything like that. We didn't meet up. That is irrelevant in the mind of the narcissist. It is not the content of what you have done, but the fact of you contacting somebody else that is the problem. That is the treachery. And thus, if Harry is found to have been cheating, he can expect those pink pods to get a suitable roasting. It poses a threat to control. She will need to bring him under control, and she will do so by lashing out at him, and then in all likelihood imposing a cold fury silent treatment against him, freezing him out as he begs for forgiveness, mooching around the Monty Shit Show mansion, pleading with her to speak to him, as he explains again and again and again that he didn't do anything wrong, that it was entirely innocent, and why won't you talk to me? She will, of course, be revelling in all of this. His pleading shows that he's under control, he's providing with fuel, and she'll be revelling in punishing him. And punished he will be, because in the mind of the narcissist, you engaging with an ex is one of the greatest treacheries that you can engage in. I'm HG Tudor. Thank you for listening.